Hey, this is John Johnson, and I just finished the book Courage to Soar by Simone Biles. Now, this was a very good book. My initial reaction is I love sports books, books on Olympics, probably just because I spent so much of my time in my life in sports, different sports. But it's great to be able to see somebody how they grind from level zero, not knowing anything about the sport, to getting to the point to where, in Simone Biles' case, she was winning multiple gold medals in the Olympics. Step one, my first note, um, set goals. I know her parents had her setting goals. I know she was setting goals throughout the entire process. And the great thing about that is it wasn't like I had this goal of being a gold medalist at the Olympics. Initially, it was just she might have wanted a belly button ring, or she might have wanted some other small thing. And her parents said, "Hey, if you or a car," and her parents said, "Hey, if you win this right here, you'll get this goal." It's simple. Many parents use it, but I think it can be used a little bit more often to be able to achieve things that people want. Another note that I got from it was you got to have somebody in your corner who's going to be a cheerleader, whether that's a parent, whether that's just a friend, whether that's a school teacher. Even the biggest rascals in school, they always have at least one teacher who says you can be decent. But you got to find those cheerleaders, and you got to stick by those people. I know for Simone, her biggest, she had many cheerleaders in her corner, but the one that she loved and she listened to the most that I got from this book was her older brother, Ron. She had the privilege of having older brothers that were about 20 years older. They were really, quote unquote, her uncles, but she saw them as her older brothers because she lived and stayed with her grandparents that she calls her mother and father. But yeah, she always had that cheerleader to where when she didn't know where to go or what decision to make, she had those few people in her corner who always gave her great advice. But when it came down to it, she knew the advice that she wanted to lean on the most, which was her good older brother, Ron. Another point was she played a few years in the sport. Like, she just played around with it. It wasn't competitive. It was just playing around. It was messing around. It was having fun with it, even to the point to where she got, to the point where she was training for the Olympics and things of that nature. And she was getting ridiculed for having such a joyful, playful attitude, which I have seen plenty of times in sports. The higher you go, the more serious you have to take it, and the more people do not want to see you, having fun, because that means that you're not taking that seriously. Well, she kept that same playful attitude from the moment that she started in the sport all the way up through, winning the gold medals, which I think helped her out a ton. It was tough looking at one part of the book because I kind of vibed there a little bit, where all she ever wanted was to go to school with her friends. She had some friends that she knew since elementary school, and by the time she was competing competitively in gymnastics, she had to go to schools that were close to the gymnastics gyms. And then by the time she got to high school, she got homeschool. That way she could be able to more easily do more practices because she got homeschool at the actual gym that she was competing at. It's unfortunate because it was a giant decision for her, because she just wanted to go and be around friends, to the point to where when she was debating on going pro or going to college, the only thing she ever wanted to do was go to college, and she almost didn't go pro just because she wanted to go to college and have that college experience with other friends. It ended up working up in her best interest because she ended up winning gold medals in the Olympics, but it was still a decision that was tough for her to make, and something that I vibed a little bit. I love the parent structure. I know her mother was Caribbean, so the structure was, and she was a successful businesswoman as well. So that those two combined ended up being, she always had Simone setting goals, but when it came down to it, it was always a laid back, relaxed, hey, you do what you want to do, you do what's going to make you most happy. It was a very calm situation, even though Simone made it seem as if she made it too serious and she was slamming doors and getting sassy around it. But having that calm guidance from a parental figure that, hey, we're going to set these goals that you're going to, you're going to make the goals. But when it comes down to it, it is not that serious. Make sure you're having fun while you're doing all of it. Once again, the great big brother, not perfect, but if you have a very good older sibling, they can be able to make everyone else be smoother down the line. I remember Michelle Obama's book. She had a great older brother, and who he wasn't perfect, but he was goofy, he was fun, he was lovable, to where Michelle pretty much just followed him her entire life growing up, from the high school that he went to the college that he went to. She just kept on following him and tagging along because he was such a good older brother. Even though they fought, they had good times together. One thing I noticed too in the book was that coaches can develop as well. I remember her coach Amy, when Simone really started getting very good, and she had surpassed pretty much the level that Amy had ever taught at before. It came to a point to where Simone's parents asked Amy, "Hey, are you going to be able to keep training my daughter to get to the next level?" And guess what? They ended up going with Amy, and she ended up, lo and behold, years later, she was the Olympic team coach. So she was on the floor coaching all the girls during the Olympics. And this is someone who had never been to that level. But coaching is a different sphere than actual playing. So it was a great thing to see that, yes, coaches can develop. And if you have a great coach that has developed you for a few years, and they say that they can be able to get you to the next level, put your faith in them for a little bit, because you never know how far they can go in their actual coaching talents. Overall, I would say this was a good book. During the middle of it, I actually started researching other books on Olympians. I know I read a book on Ibtihaj Muhammad, who was a fencer, and some other Olympic books, but I think I'm going to start downloading some more Olympic books to be able to see that journey, that people go from just absolute zero knowledge in the sport to the perfection that you need to be able to win gold medals. See you guys.